Fine, sir.
Okay, all of you turn your cameras on in the class. Yes, one of you at least start answering. No need to write it in the chat box. Just answer in the class. Yes, Chakrika. In which season paddy is cultivated?
Sir, can I?
Yeah,
Sir, in rainy season.
in the rainy season. What about others? Is the answer which is being given by Abdullah, is it correct or wrong? What do you guys think?
Correct, sir.
That is
Correct,
correct. Very good. Okay, now so paddy is cultivated during the rainy season. So thereby it is also is it a rabi crop or a kharif crop? This is rabi or kharif crop? Yes.
Sir,
Hmm.
Sir, Rabi.
What are you saying? Rabi crop.
it is
Alif.
Kharif.
Hmm. Okay. What about you, Chakrika, Gauri, and Roni? Paddy is a kharif crop. Okay, no. Okay, so it's a kharif crop. And what is the method of the sowing of this plant? Yes. What is the method of sowing of paddy? Yes.
Just drilling
Repeat
and
again.
dibbling. Is it drilling and dibbling?
Is it?
Drilling and dibbling?
Chakrika, are you not using an earphone or something? Voice is not clear. It's not coming properly. Drilling and dibbling. You're saying okay. Drilling and dibbling. Okay, yeah, drilling is done. Okay. Yes, drilling and dibbling, that is correct. Okay. Basically, we have learned about the transplantation, guys. We have learned about that now. Basically, in a nursery, first of all, the plants will be grown. First of all, like we are going to germinate the seeds. We would be germinating the seeds, and then we will be growing that in a nursery. Once it have grown to a adequate size, like you have a seed of the rice, for example. So first of all, we will be germinating it. It's very simple to germinate it. What we can do, we can just take a big bucket or big drum, and we can put all the seeds in that, and we have to put some water in it. Just some amount of water has to be put and in that big drum. So we have taken a big drum, put the seeds in this, and add some water in it. Okay, now so it will germinate. Now once it has germinated, now we are going to grow it in a nursery. You guys know about the transplantation process, how it basically is done. Okay, now so we are going to further grow the germinated seeds in a nursery. And once they have grown to an adequate size, okay, now once they have grown to of sufficient length, they are called as seedlings. And then they will be now grown from the nursery, they will be now transferred to the main field. So in the nursery, the seedlings of would be of this much of size, for example. From there on, now it will be transferred to the main field where it has to be grown. Okay, now. Also, we know that kharif, this paddy crop, it requires less amount of water or abundant amount of water. Does it require less amount of water or does it require abundant amount of water?
Some more amount of
Sir,
water.
limited amount of water.
Okay, now it requires abundant. Lots of water is required to grow this. So thereby you will see that the field in which it will be sown, that will be kind of flooded with water. Okay, now water will be filled in that field and then it will be sown. Okay, so what then answer the third question? What measures must be taken to prevent spoilage and insect attack of the harvested grains? So basically, how are we going to protect the harvested grains? Yes.
So using pesticides.
Pesticides are okay. We can use that, but we can use that. And yes. Yes, guys, what are the measures you are going to take care in order to prevent the grain from being infected?
Sir, water and light.
Water and light.
and space between.
Okay, so you have to control the moisture content. So basically, yeah.
So first, like we have to wash the grains and crops after harvested, and then we have to like sun dry them,
Hmm.
and then we have to store them in a container which is also treated with like pesticide to
Hmm.
prevent all the insects and all,
Hmm.
and also sun dried.
Sun dried also. Good. Okay, so the first step involves the manual separation of impurities from this. So we are going to do a manual separation. So if there are rock or dirt particles in this, so that has to be separated first of all. Okay, na? Like there could be some small amount of dirt or some mud balls can be present in it. Getting it, no? Mud balls or mud particles, big mud particles can be present in it. Okay, na? Or if there are some infected insects in it, already some of the insects have been damaged while harvesting, so that needs to be removed. Okay, na? So thereby we are not going to take a container. Either we can take a container or we okay, just 1 minute. uh, hmm. One. Hmm. So after having removed the impurities from it by a manual process, so thereby we are going to wash it. Not all the grains are washed, some of them are washed, some of them are just dried in the sun to get rid of the excess moisture in the seed, because moisture promotes the growth of bacteria and fungus. So thereby it will be sun dried. Okay, no? So we'll be sun drying it. Then we can either store it in the, like in the big silos, the giant cylindrical structures, there it can be stored, or it can be stored in the gunny bags. It can be stored in the gunny bags that are made up of jute fiber. The advantage out of these two silos is more advantageous, because in the silos we can control the moisture and we can control the temperature. Okay, na? Also it is treated with disinfectants, so thereby the chances of the spoilage of seed is very less there. Okay, na? Also the bags in which they are going to be stored, it should be stacked in rows, and there should be space between the different rows of the bags. Suppose there are different rows of the bags like this, so there should be space between the bags here. Okay, now that is one thing. Drying is important here. We have to regulate the content of moisture in it. Okay, now so all these things have to be taken care of. Okay. Also like the gunny bags that we are going to use, that should also be treated with insecticides. So treatment with insecticide is important. Insecticides. So these are the measures we have to take care of. Okay. You guys tell me, what are the advantages of manure? How is manure advantageous? Yes, Roni, Gauri, Chikrika, Alif.
So
Yeah.
it
It
making
improves the texture of soil.
Okay, Alif, you have said improves the texture of the soil. Okay, next.
it enhance the water holding capacity of soil.
Good. Improves water holding. Next. Improves water.
Sir gives nutrients to the plant crop.
Okay. So adds nutrients to the soil, although they are not nutrient specific. Okay. Now also they are less rich in the nutrient, but anyways they add the nutrient. Okay. Next.
So cost
The
effective.
exchange of gases become easy
Okay.
in soil.
Okay. And Chakrika, what were you saying? Cost effective, you are saying. Okay, good. So it is a cheaper source, cheaper alternative. Okay. Also, you were saying it improves the aeration. I think you were meaning to say. You were trying to say aeration. Okay, now. So improves aeration. So there will be more air molecules can be no, it can't be transported easily because it is bulky now. Manure is bulky, Chakrika, and others manure is bulky, so thereby it is not an advantage. It can't be transported easily. Okay. While fertilizers, they are not bulky, they can be transported easily. You guys getting this point, like how it improves the aeration? as it improves the texture, na, so thereby aeration increases. It creates the gap between the soil particles. So hence air molecules can get trapped between those soil particles, and the roots can also breathe properly. And microorganisms and earthworms will also grow in that soil. Yes, Khadija, how are you? Guys, there are some other importance of this also. Yes, there are some other advantages. There is one more at least. Think of it. What are the advantages of manure?
So
This is the question.
it
Gotcha,
increase
Khadija.
the
Hmm.
so it increase the humus to the soil. So like
Adds humus. Adds humus. Increases the content
yeah,
of humus. Continue. Continue.
that's it.
Okay, okay. So it increases the humus content in the soil. Humus content in the soil. Okay, Khadija, what is humus? Yeah, what is humus? Yes, in fact, everyone can answer this question. What is humus? What do you guys understand by humus? Humus.
Sir, that is like decomposers
Decomposers
for
are.
death,
Continue. Complete your answer first.
um, for death and decay. For death of plants and animals, it will decay. The humus will take place in the dead animals and plants. Then it turns into soil, like manure.
Okay, see here, what you are saying now, like you have the concept, but you are not finding the right words to explain it properly. The construction of your answer is not proper. Khadija, Gauri,
Sir, it is the
yeah.
dead remains of plants and animals.
Okay, no. So basically, it's like we get to see the dark organic matter. Like you will see, soils are of different color. Some of the soils have a darker color. Some of them are dark brown, even black in color. You have black soil and you have sandy soil, for example. Why these two soils are different in color? Because sandy soil does not have any dead organic matter in it, while the black soil or the clay soil, they have lots of dead organic decaying matter in it. Okay, now so humus is basically a dark organic material that forms after the decomposition of the plant and animal remains. When the plant and animal matter decomposes, so it forms into a dark colored substance. That substance is basically humus. So humus is formed by the decaying of the organic matter. Okay, now that is one thing, and it has several advantages, as you guys have mentioned some of the advantages here. Okay, now plus humus, when the humus decomposes now, like if the soil is too basic in nature, there's no harmful chemicals. Yeah, exactly, there's no harmful chemical in it, Khadija. Okay, now so that is one advantage. So it is not going to like in the long run, we know that if we continue to use the fertilizers, eventually the soil becomes too acidic in nature now. So thereby chemicals have disadvantage. It lowers the pH level of the soil. So thereby plant will not grow in a soil in which chemical fertilizers have been used over a long period of time. So say that if the soil becomes too acidic, I mean to say too acidic. So thereby we have to add calcium hydroxide. We have to add lime in it. We have to add lime water in it. You guys know about calcium hydroxide? In the physical and chemical changes in your seventh standard, you would have learned about the different kind of bases in the chapter acid, base, and salts. So there you would have learned about neutralization in everyday life. So how we can improve the pH level of the soil. For example, in which pH level the plants will grow properly? Will the plants grow properly if the pH level of the soil is 0, or is it 7, or if it is 14? Yeah, you guys tell me.
7.
Okay, you're saying 7. Chakrika, Roni, yeah, Chakrika, you were saying. Aleph, Abdullah, Khadija, in which pH level the plants will grow properly? It's actually 7, which Gauri said.
7.
So that is the neutral pH level in which the plants grow properly. But if the pH level of the soil is like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, so thereby the plant will not grow properly. So say that if the soil is very acidic in nature, you guys, all of you would have learned about neutralization reaction, I suppose.
Yes,
The,
sir.
yeah, the reaction that takes place between acid and base, and as a result, salt and water is formed. So thereby, if the soil is acidic, so thereby we had to add some base in it. So we usually add lime in it. Okay, now lime is added, calcium oxide is added. The white stone that is used in the process of whitewashing of the walls, as you guys would have learned about it. So that is a base actually. So thereby a neutralization reaction takes place and the pH of the soil is restored to 7. That is good for the plant. But I'm saying that if the soil is basic in nature, let's say the soil is basic in nature. So thereby by addition of the soil, by the addition of manures, the pH level of soil is restored to 7. Okay, na? So it is added especially in basic soil to bring the pH level to 7, which is neutral. Okay, now. So say basically what happens, say you have some organic matter, you have some, let us say this is a manure. All right, now this is a manure. So manure is actually kind of partially decomposed. It's not completely decomposed matter of plant and animal. When we look at manure, no, it's not 100% decomposed matter of plant and animal. It is partially decomposed. Getting it, guys? Chakrika, Roni, everyone getting it? Gauri.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
when we
sir.
add it in the soil, na, say this is the field in which we have added this. In which we have added this. So when it will be further decomposing now, so as the bacteria will be decomposing it, so due to decomposition process, acids will be released in this. Acids are released. Acids are released. And remember, in what kind of soil we have added this? We have added this in a basic or acidic soil. In a basic soil, we have added this here. So thereby, reaction will take place between the bases and the acids, and hence the quality of the soil will be improved because a soil having a pH level of 7 is better. So it has several advantages, like it is improving the quality of the soil, it is improving the soil structure, its texture, promoting the growth of the plant as it adds important nutrients. It has important minerals present in it. Okay. Another advantage of addition of the humus is that it warms up the soil also. What it does? It warms up the soil. Warms up the soil. Why I'm saying this? Because, for example, whenever the breakdown of the food or any organic matter takes place, heat is released. Wherever there will be breakdown of any organic matter, the important thing is that heat is released there. Getting it, guys? For example, when the food is digested in our body, so in the digestion of the food, heat is released. Or when the aerobic respiration takes place, where the food reacts with oxygen, there also heat is released. So basically, wherever the breakdown of organic matter takes place, heat is released. So what does this manure contain? Does it not contain organic matter in it? It contains organic matter, obviously, no? So when that will be further broken down in the soil, so that will be releasing heat and it will be warming up the soil. Getting it now? It's not like you will be touching the soil and your hand will be burnt. Not in that manner. Basically, warming up the soil slightly. So these were some of the advantages. Okay. Now here we have the questions from next chapter, microorganisms, friends and co. So you guys have to match the column 1 and column 2. Will you guys be able to answer this in the chat box, everyone?
Yes,
Or
sir.
should I assign this separately? Hmm? Okay, let's do one thing. If I were to ask you to answer in the chat box, I don't think everyone is going to answer it. So how about I assign this to you guys? Okay, now?
Sir, can you tell the question again?
Are we saying that I'm going to assign this to you guys? Okay, now there are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you now. So I'm
Okay.
going to assign 2 of them to everyone. 2. Okay, there are 11 anyways. So the first 2, this 2. Okay. Aleph, you do this one. Abdullah, you do this one. Roni, You will be doing this one. Shakrika, Khadija, and the last one, Gauri. Okay, so Gauri, you are getting only one question. All right, guys, do this as quickly as possible.
Sir, should we answer it in the chat?
Yeah, in the chat box. In the chat box, answer it.
Sir, can I tell?
Answer in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, you can just tell me in the class. Yeah.
Louis Pasteur,
Hmm.
pasteurization.
Good.
Lactobacillus curd.
Very good. Okay. So Aleph, you have done really well. Good. Let me see what others are answering. Chikrika, you're saying this. Okay. Good. Khadija. Question number 9. Okay, good. 10 plus 2. Yeah. Yes, Khadija, your answers are correct. Very good. Gauri, what answer you have given? That is good. Gauri, good. But Chikrika, that one is also correct. Okay. Gauri, Khadija, and Chikrika, you guys have answered it. Good. Roni and Abdullah, you guys are left. Okay, for others who have already done, I'm going to give one more question to you guys. All right, now, on the same pattern. Okay, have you guys not answered it yet? Roni, you there in the class? Yes. All of you turn your cameras on in the class. All of you. Abdullah,
Yes, sir.
you answer it quickly. You have penicillin and Alexander Fleming. No, that isn't correct. For the third one, your answer is not correct. Okay, wait a minute. I didn't saw this answer of you, Chakrika. For dengue, you have answered female anopheles. No, dengue is not spread by the female anopheles. Malaria is spread by the female anopheles. The thing is that the dengue is spread by this Aedes mosquito. The Aedes mosquito is responsible for spreading the dengue. Getting it, Chakrika? Yeah, that is correct, Chakrika. What you have your answer for this one, Alexander Fleming. Roni, you still haven't answered it. Answer it quickly. Yes, to answer for the second one, that is correct. Like for this question number 4, Abdullah, that is correct. No, just 1 minute. Alexander Fleming, you have mentioned. No. No. What did Alexander Fleming discover, guys? What did he did?
Sir, vaccine.
What was the name of the vaccine? That is? Yes? Anyone? Which was the first
Sir,
vaccine? I'm asking about this one, Alexander Fleming. So Alexander Fleming, he made the first vaccine, and that was the penicillin now. Or was it different one? Yes. What was the contribution of Alexander Fleming? Alexander Fleming was the person who discovered penicillin. Okay, na? He invented the penicillin vaccine. Getting it, everyone? Yeah, Abdullah, it is correct now. Okay, na? Okay, Roni, you still haven't answered it. You were required to answer this biological nitrogen fixers. Yes, others can answer this. The biological nitrogen fixer. Which one of this is this is? It will be matched to which option in column 2? Biological nitrogen fixers. We know it's the, what is the name of that bacteria? Yes, biological nitrogen fixation. In the nitrogen cycle, you guys would have learned about nitrogen fixation. There you would have learned about the bacteria by the name of rhizobium bacteria. You guys forgot about this. Chakrika, Gauri, huh?
No, sir.
So why you aren't answering, Khadija, Alif, Abdullah? Hmm? So that is rhizobium bacteria, okay? And rhizobium bacteria, it fixes the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil and thereby increases the soil fertility, okay now? And malaria, it is caused by the female anopheles. That is option number 11 here, okay now? So hope you guys have got it, okay? Now name 2 disease data caused by virus. Write one important characteristic of virus, okay now? Meanwhile, let me add one more question on this. From the chapter microorganism, I'm writing down the name of some of the scientists, and you have to tell me the work with which they are associated. So scientists and their work. You guys can answer in the class. No need to write down it in the chat box, okay now? All of you will be required to answer this. Yeah, start answering it already. Otherwise, I will be assigning it then.
Sir Robert Koch had discovered bacterium which causes atherosclerosis.
See, right now I'm asking about this one, this question. Start from here. I haven't completed the question here. Okay now?
So from the first one, or from who discovered the bacterium Bacillus?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Bacillus?
the first one or the second one?
This is question number 1 here. This is question number 2. So who discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis? Okay, now this is a separate question. Okay, now this is the third question here. Okay, let me just quickly complete this.
So we have to answer first and second one.
Yeah, right now you answer the first 2 questions. Then you will be answering the third question. Okay. Yes.
So first one is COVID-19 and chickenpox.
Okay, good. Others also give some examples. There are lots of diseases that are caused by virus. So many diseases are there that are caused by the virus.
So tuberculosis.
Hepatitis.
Repeat again.
Hepatitis.
Hepatitis. Okay, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, both of them are caused by the virus. Good. And Chikrika?
Tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis. What do you guys think? Is tuberculosis caused by a virus? Tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria, I think. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria. Okay, na? By the name of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, na? Tuberculosis, in short written as TB, it is caused by a bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and this is the name of the bacteria which causes this. So thereby the disease is also taken from the name of the bacteria here. Okay, na? And how does it spread? Does it spread via the water or the air? The tuberculosis, it's a communicable or uncommunicable disease. Yes. Guys, tuberculosis, it's spread through the air. Whenever an infected person, he is going to sneeze, or he is going to cough, or he is going to spit. So thereby, what will happen? The germs will be transferred. The bacteria will be spread via the air. Okay, now, which part of the body is affected by the tuberculosis, by the way? Is it the lungs, kidney, heart? Which part of the body is affected?
Sir, lungs.
It's the lungs, obviously. Okay, now. Okay, the answer to the question here, name two disease that are caused by the virus. So we have so many examples, as you guys have quoted some of the examples of like chicken pox. Then we have hepatitis A and B. That is also caused by this. COVID-19, the common example we have of COVID-19. Okay. Chakrika was mentioning HPV. That is an example. Okay, no. Basically, it's a I think virus or something like human papillomavirus, something like that. Okay. The most common is flu or influenza, basically. The influenza is caused by this, and we have some common examples like the polio. Yeah, Chakrika, polio. Okay, no. Earlier the vaccines were administered for polio. So many examples are there. Then write one important characteristic of virus. Although there are several important characteristics of virus. Mention some of it.
What's the?
Mention one important characteristic of virus. I'm not asking about the use. I'm asking about an important characteristic of virus. Like what is this? What is something that is special? They do. Okay, but where do they then multiply exactly, Chakrika? How are they going to reproduce then if they do not multiply? They do multiply, but or it could be in any other organisms also. You know, like Chakrika is saying that they multiply in the human body. Yeah, so human body makes serves as a host for them. So we become a host for the virus whenever a virus enters into our body. Why? Because the host is an organism from where the virus or other parasites would be obtaining nutrition. This is the size of the bacteria. Let's say this is the virus. So bacteria is clearly bigger in size than the virus. So virus can not only make the human cell a host, it can not only make the human cell host, but it can also go inside the bacteria because its size is smaller than a bacteria. And we also know that the virus are the smallest microorganisms. So they are extremely small. Getting it now? Like they are about like 1,000 times smaller than the cells of a human. Okay, now if you were to take a muscle cell and if you were to compare that muscle cell of the human body with the virus, so this virus will be 1,000 times smaller than the human cell. If this is the size of the human cell, that will be the size of the virus. So virus being smaller, it can infect the bacteria also. Getting it, everyone? What I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So there are several characteristics of the virus. Like they're extremely small, and we can't look at them with the help of any normal microscope. Like microscopes are of different types. The microscope with the highest magnifying power is the electron microscope. So we'll be able to look at the virus only with the help of an electron microscope. But some of the microorganisms which are multicellular, they can be viewed with the help of a microscope. So you guys tell me which microorganism you guys can observe with the help of a microscope. Yes? You guys can observe the structure of which microorganism with the help of a microscope, with the help of a magnifying glass. No, viruses are extremely small now. So how can we look at them with the help of a magnifying glass? Magnifying glass as compared to microscope has negligible power. But although with the help of a magnifying glass, we can see microorganisms like, for example, bread mold. You can observe it with the help of a magnifying glass. Getting it, guys, what I'm trying to say.
Fungi.
Fungi, basically it's a fungi. Okay, or like rhizopus or bread mold, same thing, or you can observe aspergillus, etc. Furthermore, another special characteristic of virus is that it will do reproduction only when it goes inside the host cell. So it needs a host in order to reproduce. So thereby, on their own, they can't survive. So they have to depend upon the host cell. So that's why you see when they will be not in when they will not be inside a host body, so they will be mostly inactive. They will not show any symptoms of life, any signs of life. So thereby viruses are considered an organism that is between the living and between the death. Okay, no, that is something. Okay, guys, answer the next question. Who discovered the bacillus of this bacteria? Who discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis, and which disease can be caused by it, and is it harmful? Yes. Who discovered Bacillus anthracis?
Sir, Robert Koch.
Robert Koch. What about others? Yes.
Same,
Roni.
sir.
Same. Khadija, what about you?
Sir, same.
Same. Very good. So he was Robert Koch. Okay, na? Okay. So he described the structure of this bacteria, that is Bacillus anthracis, and that was in the year about 1876. So he did this work in the year 1876. Okay. And what disease is caused by it? Which disease is caused by this bacteria? Yes.
Sir, can I?
Yeah, sure.
Anthrax disease.
Anthrax disease. Very good. So is that disease harmful, and does this disease spread to humans also? Is it common in the humans also? Yeah. Is anthrax common in humans, or is it limited to sheep, goats?
Sir, it's limited.
No, actually, it can be transmitted to humans also, but usually it's a disease in the case of sheep or cattle. Okay, no, that is the case. Okay, but it can occur in the humans also. If they are going to be exposed to those bacteria, for example, a person who would be handling those animals, would be handling the sheep and the cattle, so they are likely to be infected with this. A person like he's a goat farmer, he's a camel farmer, or he is rearing the wool of the sheep, okay, no, or milking the cattle, for example, so they can catch this. Okay, what basically happens in anthrax? Anyone who knows about this? What happens? Basically, we will get to see, like in the body of the insect, there will be bumps. Okay, no, there will be an itchy bump. Sometimes it can be itchy, sometimes it cannot be. Okay, no, so there will be bump, and that bump will further open. Okay, no, that will open, and there will be black patches all over the body of the organism. Getting it, guys? Like there will be a black patch on the body of the organism like this. So that is what it happens. Okay, now you guys answer this question. Match the following. These are the scientists, and these are the terms of their works. Yeah. What did Louis Pasteur discover? Yes, Khadija, Chakrika, Alif, Roni, Gauri, everyone answer this. Abdullah. Louis Pasteur. That is? Why are you guys taking this much of time to respond? Is the bubonic plague a virus or a bacteria? Bubonic plague. Bubonic plague was caused by a bacteria, I think.
Yes,
Bubonic
sir.
plague is also called as death, a black death, by the way. Okay, no?
Sir, I think we discovered
Mhm.
fermentation, the process of fermentation.
Process of fermentation. Okay, no, very good. So in the year 1857, Louis Pasteur discovered the process of fermentation. So thereby he basically showed how the milk turns into turns sour. He explained how the milk turns sour. Okay, no? What about Robert Koch? We just have studied about this, and that is obviously anthrax bacterium, Bacillus anthrax. Okay, next, Edward Jenner. What was his contribution? And to answer your question, Khadija, just bubonic plague is caused by a bacteria actually. Okay, no, it is caused by a bacteria and not by a virus. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Mhm. Bubonic plague, like it is also called as a black death, and like in the earlier days now, like in throughout the history of the world, it has killed so many millions of peoples have been killed with this disease, bubonic plague, also called as black death. It was it usually spread in the Europe. In the early 14th century, it is spread in the Europe. Okay, now that is one thing. But nowadays, it's a rare condition, a rare disease, and usually it spreads in the rural areas. Okay. Yeah, Edward Jenner, guys, you haven't answered it. Chakrika,
Sir,
Abdullah here.
typhoid.
Edward Jenner, you guys are saying? Typhoid. Okay, what about others?
So penicillin.
Just 1 minute. Have I missed an option here? Penicillin, anthrax, bacterium, fermentation, typhoid. There has to be one more option in this. Okay, now there's an extra option here. Okay, now keep that in mind. That is smallpox. Now you guys answer this now.
Sir, smallpox.
For Edward Jenner, right now. So he discovered the vaccine for the smallpox. Getting it now?
So what is smallpox?
Smallpox. So smallpox, like the milkmaid who who would be working with the cows, with the cattle, so they would be catching the smallpox. So it's a skin disease. Smallpox is a skin disease. Getting it? It's a skin disease, and like basically the person would be having rashes on their skin. Redness will develop on that area, which will be infected. Also, it's a communicable disease because if two persons were to come in contact with each other, one of them is infected, so the infection will pass on to the healthy person, and it is caused by a virus, by the way. Getting it now? So smallpox, although it has been said to be eradicated, but still some people would be catching this. So person would be suffering from headache, from fever, okay now, and it can last to several days. Getting it now? That is the thing here. So there will be rashes, there will be headache, there would be fever, backache, there would be a headache. The person can suffer from diarrhea also. That is the thing. Okay, are you guys answering for this one? Alexander Fleming. That is
Penicillin.
penicillin. Very good. And penicillin was the first antibiotic, right now? So penicillin was the first antibiotic, in fact. Okay. Okay, now we have questions from the chapter coal and petroleum. Before we move on to this question, you guys tell me that there are lots of preservatives that we use that is used in the kitchen on a daily basis. Can you guys tell some of the common examples of preservatives that are used in the kitchen? Some of the chemical preservatives, not just chemical, basically a preservative that is used in the kitchen.
Sir, I didn't understand your question.
What are the preservatives, food preservatives that are used in the kitchen to protect the food from being spoiled?
Salt.
Salt, good.
Sugar,
Sugar, very good.
fridge,
Repeat again.
fridge,
Fridge. I'm asking about like preservatives. That freezing is a method. Okay, no?
sir, vinegar,
Vinegar, very good. Vinegar contains an acid. What is the name of the acid contained in it?
acetic acid,
Acetic acid, very good. And what else? You guys are missing one important thing. That is
Boiling.
boiling is a method basically. So okay, you can say that, but it's a method. I'm asking about the substances. So you have oil also, okay, no? So vinegar is there, oil, common salt, sugar, okay, no, etc. So these are used in the kitchen as food preservatives. Okay. Okay, answer one more question. Say that, okay, by the way, you guys answer this question. Like typhoid. Typhoid is caused by a bacteria or a virus? Yeah, typhoid, is it caused by? Mhm.
Sir, virus. No,
No,
bacteria.
The bacteria.
bacteria. What's the name of the bacteria that causes typhoid? Yes, it's Salmonella typhi. The name is Salmonella typhi. One more question. Typhoid, is it a waterborne disease or airborne disease?
So water.
Air.
No, waterborne disease. Okay, no, it's a waterborne disease, and it can also can spread from contaminated food also. Okay, na, so if some people don't have a proper have a poor hygiene practice, okay, na, so basically what happens, like this bacteria, Salmonella typhi bacteria, can be found in the stool of the infected person or whoever the carrier of this disease is. Okay, na, or it can be found in the waste of the insects also. Okay, so it can get onto the hand or other parts of the body. So the bacterias, then it can contaminate the food or the water that the person is going to drink. So thereby hygiene has to be maintained in order to avoid typhoid. Okay, okay, answer these questions quickly, guys. Coal is one of the
Fuel.
fuel. Next, when heated in air, coal burns and produces mainly
Carbon monoxide.
carbon monoxide. No,
Carbon
it's
dioxide.
carbon dioxide. No. Coal tar is a black, thick
Liquid.
liquid with a very good smell,
Bad.
with an unpleasant smell or bad smell. Okay, no? With an unpleasant. An is used here, no? So we'll be writing, instead of bad, we'll be writing unpleasant. Okay. Petroleum dash and dash of fossil fuels.
Petroleum, natural gas, and coal.
Petroleum, natural gas, and coal. Very good. Okay. Forest and coal are forest and coal are they renewable?
Non-renewable
Non.
natural resources.
Exactly. They are non-renewable natural resources. The slow process of conversion of dead vegetation into coal is called
Carbonization.
carbonization. Very good. Next, coal and petroleum are formed from the dead remains of organisms and are known as
Fossil fuel.
fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, good. The black thick liquid with
Unpleasant smell.
unpleasant smell. Good. Next, during the processing of coal to get coke, coal tar, and dash are also obtained.
Coal gas.
Okay. What
Coal.
is that? Yeah, that is correct. Okay, na? Coal gas. What is that processing called as? What is that process called as?
Destructive distillation.
Destructive distillation. Very good. Excess destructive distillation. Excess burning of fossil fuels is a major cause of
Global warming.
that is global warming. Okay, now very good. Least polluting fuel for vehicle is
Natural gas.
it's LPG is not used in vehicle usually. It's a compressed natural gas, CNG.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, then what is the use of LPG?
LPG, it is used for kitchen, used in the kitchen for cooking the food. No, the primary use of LPG is in the kitchen.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
So the process of separating the various constituents of petroleum is known as fractional distillation, right?
Exactly. That is fractional distillation, while this is destructive distillation. Okay, now where
So,
we'll
but
be. Mhm.
yes, sir. Can you go on?
Yeah, I was saying that basically in destructive distillation, you take some pieces of coal and burn it, heat it. Okay, heat it in absence of air. So thereby, coke is formed.
Yes.
The gas will be coming out of it. Okay, na, and that
So,
gas is coal gas. Yeah.
but then here they're asking for petroleum, right?
Okay, just 1 minute. The process of separating the various. Okay, it's petroleum now. Oh, sorry. I thought it's coal. I also mistook it for coal actually. Yeah, that is fractional distillation. Very good, Chaktika, for pointing this. Okay, now. Yeah, that is fractional distillation, guys. Okay, now correct this. Yeah, continue. Petroleum is also called.
Black,
Black.
something like that.
Okay, like
Black gold.
black gold. That is true. Or else it is also called as crude oil. Okay, now. So we can write down like crude oil. Petroleum is also called crude oil. Getting it now? But if the option is given, if let's say instead of like you have several options given, so you can write black oil if crude oil is not mentioned there. Now dash is a petroleum gas in liquid form.
Kerosene,
Kerosene? No,
petrol,
no. It's a gas, petroleum gas, but in the liquid form. It is used in the kitchen.
LPG.
Exactly, no. LPG. The full form is liquefied petroleum gas. No? Refining of petroleum is carried out in a
Petroleum.
that is petroleum refinery. Good. Now you guys mentioned the different types of combustion. What are the different types of combustion?
Explosive combustion.
rapid combustion,
Hmm.
Incomplete combustion.
Incomplete combustion, you're saying. Okay, what about others?
Spontaneous combustion.
Spontaneous combustion and rapid combustion. Okay, and then you have explosive combustion. Right now, so usually there are three main types of combustion: rapid combustion, spontaneous. Let me write it down. Rapid, spontaneous, and the third one is explosive. Okay, now explosive. Although there are some other like other types of combustion also, and like they can be several types of combustion. Usually we categorize them into three. Okay, now there's another way to categorize combustion based on the availability of oxygen. So that would be complete combustion or incomplete combustion. In complete combustion, fuel will be burning with an excess supply of oxygen. So lots of carbon dioxide will be produced, like good amount of carbon dioxide will be produced, and the fuel will be burning properly. In the case of incomplete combustion, fuel will be burning with a limited supply of oxygen. So thereby, carbon monoxide will be released in abundant quantity. Too much of carbon dioxide will be produced. So we have incomplete and complete combustion also. But usually in the chapter, we have studied about these three types of combustion. Okay, all of you, you guys would be required to give examples also. Give some examples. Give an example of rapid combustion, guys. Yes. Basically, in rapid combustion, combustion will be slow or fast. It's a type of fast combustion. Okay, now fast combustion. Why? Because there is excess of oxygen available to the fuel. Okay, now so what examples do we have?
candle,
Candle. Okay, we can take that candle, burning of the candle. Okay, now. But the better examples are of, like, for example, when you
Nu-
bring a repeat
paper,
paper.
nu-
Good.
explosives.
Repeat again. Repeat again.
Nuclear explosives.
Nuclear explosives, you're saying. So that will be in the category of explosive combustion. Na? See, when you have the LPG gas burner and when you bring a lighted matchstick near to this, so it immediately catches fire now. It instantly catches fire, right now. So you have LPG gas. So it will be doing a rapid combustion. It rapidly burns. Or burning of the paper, for example, or burning of the candle flame. So yes, you can take that as examples also. What about the spontaneous? One of you define spontaneous combustion. Basically a combustion that will occur without. Mhm. Continue.
Sir, it's a chemical reaction which occurs without the presence of oxygen.
No. That is a different thing. Basically,
Spontaneous combustion occurs when like substance burns on its own without extant appliances for the like of heat.
Exactly. Okay, na? So whenever a substance would be burning on its own without any external source of heat. Okay, na? So these substances usually have a very low ignition temperature. So when material burns on its own without the need of any external source of heat. Okay, na? Like for example, spontaneous combustion, very often it occurs in the coal mines where the coal dust would be suddenly catching fire. Okay, na? So we have example of this where the material catches fire on its own without the requirement of external source of heat. We have the examples of coal gas that spontaneously catches the fire. So if the inside of the mines like if the temperature increases inside the mine, the coal gas will catch fire and it will be very lethal, very deadly. Then we have the example of like white phosphorus right now. White phosphorus, we have learned about this.
Yes, sir.
So white phosphorus, basically when you take a white phosphorus and you keep it in the room, it will catch fire on its own. So thereby it has to be stored in the kerosene oil so that it does not come in contact with air. Getting it, guys? Also, while a matchstick is burned, so how does a matchstick burn? Basically, the red phosphorus in the head of the matchstick, once it is rubbed against the matchbox, so due to friction, heat is generated. And due to that heat now, it is sufficient to convert that red phosphorus into some of the white phosphorus. So thereby it spontaneously catches fire. So that is an example. Then explosive kind of reaction, what happens here? Yes, large amount of heat plus
Light.
gas plus sound plus light is given off here, right now. For example, lightning of crackers in the festivals. Okay, now. So here the chemicals are going to go under reaction. Basically, the chemicals are stored under high pressure in a given explosive. The chemicals are stuffed at a high pressure. So when you light it using a matchstick, okay, now. So as soon as the reaction takes place here, so lots of heat is given off. So gases also comes out. Like this is a gas coming out of this firecracker, for example. This is a firecracker. You guys just wait for 2 more minutes, okay now. So too much of heat is given off. Too much of heat is given off. And due to the too much of heat, this gas expands. Gas expands rapidly, and because of the very fast expansion of the gas, a huge sound is produced. That's why you get to hear that sound whenever a firecracker is burned, because due to the heat that is coming out of the firecracker, this gas expands rapidly, and that's why sound is produced. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have discussed some of the questions today. You guys tell me, what would you guys like to do in the next class? Same question.